Hey, everybody. Welcome to Let's Be Blunt, a podcast about living and loving everything Blount County, Tennessee.
We're your hosts, Brett Hepner and Eric Rice, the property dads at LeConte Realty, and we're excited to talk more about this great place we call home.
All right, so today is kind of special because we generally just have one guest, and we've had some great single guests, but today we get two. We get two for the price of one, and so we are at Company Distilling here in beautiful Townsend, Tennessee, one of our favorite places on earth. And we're joined by Cassie Halley and Jeff Arnett. Cassie is the CEO here at Company Distilling. Jeff is the co-founder and master distiller. And we're so glad to be sitting here with you today, and we're excited about what's ahead because we've got lots of questions.
Yeah, we do.
The pleasure is ours.
We're glad to be
welcome.
here.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
As I said before we started, usually it's a heavily Blount County theme, and we're in the heart of Blount County, but this may venture off the path. I have lots of questions that don't necessarily pertain to the county.
If we just simply did a taste testing today, I think Brett would be really happy.
We can arrange it. We're closed today, actually, but if you don't tell, I won't tell.
Cassie doesn't have to be here next meeting till 2. We're good.
Nobody will know.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. And so, just want to open it up. I know you've been in Blount County for quite some time, and so you are fairly new to Blount County. So, if you guys don't mind, just give us let's Be Blunt. We try to, connect people with Blount County and kind of how they got here. And so, if you don't mind, give us a little bit of background on who you are and how you got here, and kind of hit the high points there.
Yeah. Okay. Me to go first?
Yes.
Okay. Well, so I've been in Blount County since I moved here in 2018. Okay. I'm originally born and raised in Missouri, but I moved here from Chicago in 2018. And my family twisted my arm, and I actually had a job here doing PR. I was moving from Chicago out of advertising to come here and be closer to family. And my family runs a Little Arrow Outdoor Resort here in Townsend. And they're like, well, why don't you come work for us? And I said, well, I didn't know that was on the table, but okay. So I started working with Little Arrow in 2018, and I had an amazing time. I started off just doing marketing, but as you know, with family businesses, you do a lot more than that. So, I was there since then, and I've been with Company for a little over a year. Started doing the marketing and the retail operations with Company, and then recently got promoted to the CEO role. So I'm very excited and learning a lot, and I've got a great support from Jeff and the rest of the team.
Is there anybody better to learn from?
No.
Than
No, Jeff teaches me a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, same here.
How does one, maybe I should ask you this question, how does one steal someone from a family business?
In Townsend, Tennessee, no less,
There was some common family there, so hopefully it wasn't too much a problem. But we looked at Cassie's skill set, and like I said, so much of what we want to have here in Townsend is to introduce people to the product and to grow from here. But just the hospitality portion of operating retail is really critical to us. This kind of sets the personality for our brand, which hopefully isn't all the messaging and all the advertising that we do from here. But when you're a small brand and you're fighting for distribution, it's really helpful if you have a place where you can direct market to the consuming public, where you can offer hospitality. We want to have. The brand's mantra is to gather around, the name company. Everybody thinks of company as where they get a check. It's somebody you work for, but it means those you break bread with. And we wanted facilities that had that kind of feel to it, that was a place you would want to go and spend time with people who matter to you, make some memories here. It's beautiful surroundings.
Yes.
And hopefully, we can put something high quality in your hand that you can enjoy while you're here.
So we kind of skipped though, Jeff. Tell us your background as well.
Sure. So I'm a native Tennessean. I did spend a few years out of the state working for Procter & Gamble, but ultimately came back and started working for Jack Daniels. back in early 2000s. I was with them about 20 years when this opportunity to be a co-founder at company Distilling had come up. Became familiar with Townsend in particular because we were doing the Grains and Grits Festival here every fall. So the first Saturday in November was bringing my family and my children up here, and it was just so different than Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg.
Sure.
Just this beauty of nature. And I'm like, this is it's a beautiful spot to do a whiskey festival, but it would really be nice to have a distillery here too. And just sitting around campfires and kind of having those what if conversations that were getting more and more real. It seemed like each year that ultimately led to us forming this and finding land here. And but I have been in Blount County in this area now for about 5 years. So I left Jack Daniel's in the fall of 2020. Started spending dedicated time here in 2021 when we purchased what was the old Cowboy Tubing building in Townsend. It had a house behind it, thank goodness, because it gave me a place to live while we knocked down Cowboy Tubing. We tried to save that building because it was historical, and a lot of people were sentimental about it. But it was 4 inches out of plumb and didn't have a proper foundation under it. And they just told us that you really need to knock it down if you want something that's going to stand the next windstorm. So it took us about a year to build the building where we're sitting now, and we opened this up about 4 years ago. But I absolutely love it here. The people of East Tennessee are wonderful. I think it is, and I can say this because I grew up in Jackson, Tennessee, and I lived in Middle Tennessee for 20 years. I do think it's the prettiest part of the state of Tennessee. Everyone is unique and has its things as offers, but it would be hard to beat the natural beauty of the windows that I'm looking out of right now. Yeah. It's so picturesque. And I feel like my blood pressure drops several points when I drive out here. And it's kind of nice at this point in my life to have that.
So I don't want to skip this because I think it's pertinent to what we're going to talk about. Give us, you said 20 years with Jack Daniel's. Give us your time span, like where'd you start and where'd you finish when you were there?
Yeah, so I actually, through a headhunter, was placed there back in 2001 and was their quality control manager at first. And I had been there maybe about 5 years, and I was promoted to take over. Besides quality control, I had all of their processing and warehousing operations. So I had really good working knowledge of all the things that were coming together to create the finished product of Jack Daniel's, because most of them were kind of under my oversight. And then they asked me if I would be willing to be the master distiller, which kind of changed things for me, because you become, you're not anonymous anymore, because you become the face and voice of the brand. So you become Jack Daniel's to, 170 countries. So they all want to meet you. And so for the next 12 or 13 years, I traveled to 40 different countries, most U.S. states. I only traveled about 20% of the time, but if you do it right, you can cover, I could go on an 8 or 9 day trip and go to 3 or 4 countries. And that would usually be how it would work. You would start off, you go into London, be there for a couple of days, and then you would bounce into some of the surrounding countries, because once you're there, it's like going from state to state, know. Yeah, you can take a train ride and be in another country. So, so after almost 20 years with them, I was able to take their portfolio from 3 products to 11. So a lot of innovation during that time. And there were things I was working on that were never going to be big ideas, I think, for Jack Daniel's, but they were things I really enjoyed doing that I thought could become the signature or the personality of a new brand if it was done right. So we do a lot of wood finishing, and that was something I had started at Jack Daniel's, especially my last 2 years there. But it kind of became, I think, a signature for us is that we always look for a finishing wood that we think creates balance or creates the right interest. I think most people think when they think of like rye whiskey, for instance, it's very peppery and spicy, and not everybody likes it. It's a little bit more of a polarizing thing. But I've had people say that, your rye is like maybe my favorite, and I never even liked rye before. And to me, that makes you feel good as a distiller, because we're using natural means to achieve that. We're not, using artificial ingredients. We're keeping it with the old historical processes, but bringing some more modern day innovations with the finishing side.
So I want to say right up front, Eric and Cassie, if you want to jump in anytime, otherwise it's
I know.
Yeah, I'll try not to dominate it.
No, it's like me and you. It's like
you guys like your own room over there. You guys can talk
We'll have to do a part 2.
Maybe so. Yeah.
We're just going to keep turning business away today.
That's right. Yeah. As we have just been set up and sitting here. At least 3 groups of people have come in, and so it's a busy place.
And they're closed, and
you're
everybody
closed,
walks
yeah.
away
Closed on
with
We have to
Mondays.
rethink this Monday close.
I know.
thing.
Yeah.
So,
It'll be a good day for us.
but you said wood finishing. What exactly is that, and how does that work?
So, if you look up the federal codes of what defines whiskey, it's pretty well, whether it's a bourbon or a straight whiskey or whatever, there are certain tenets or ways you have to make it. And most of that ends with a new charred oak barrel. So you use American white oak. What I like about what we do here is that while it's still in the oak barrel, once a whiskey has fairly matured, maybe not over matured, but I call it, still having a final chapter that can be written as far as how its character is going to go, that we can find a wood that we think adds interest to it. So if I think a liquid is very sweet, can I add a wood that maybe spices that up a little bit and creates a little more interest? If you've got something that's already inherently spicy, can you find a sweeter wood that's going to kind of bring it, center it back up on the palate? Sweet's on the tip of your tongue, sour's on the sides and underneath your tongue, bitter's on the back of your tongue and throat. I always try to get something that has a good mid-mouth character, so it isn't like overly sweet or overly finished. I always say it's not just what you taste, but it's where you're tasting it. If you'll pay attention to it, it'll help you understand why you like certain things. Some people like milk chocolate, some people like dark chocolate. Milk chocolate's very tip of tongue, dark chocolate's back of throat. Both taste like chocolate, but they show up at different spots on the palate.
This sounds a lot like science.
Well, and I did. I learned the sensory sciences in coffee. So prior to Jack Daniels, my first job out of college was at Folgers Coffee in New Orleans.
Oh, wow.
And it was a plant that bought all the coffee beans for Folgers at the time. And we would bring them in, pound or two at a time, roast, grind, brew, and then go through a classic and grading process, evaluating beans for flavor, acidity, and body. And then further thinking through how you took beans of differing characteristics and created balance with them.
I feel like, Brett's not ever been a coffee drinker, and I feel like he could be, should be, if because he's a bourbon drinker, and I feel like it would. I think that they would enjoy each other.
I'd tell you, coffee has really changed. I joined Procter & Gamble at Folgers in 1990, and I was with them until 95. There was no whole bean business. There was no Starbucks. There was like these high-end coffee shops are really non-existent back then. I told people to be successful at Folgers, we just had to be better than Maxwell House back then, because you were really the only 2 big brands out there, and the rest of it was, no name or store brand. Being in Louisiana, I would tell you back then there was a brand called Community, and it was very regional back then. Now it's on the national stage.
I do like Community Coffee.
Community Coffee is an excellent coffee.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's one that I still like. But I got introduced to it when I was living in Louisiana.
All right, I'm going to take a step back here a little bit, take a page out of your book, and come back to Cassie, because Cassie, you have a background in advertising and marketing, and then you come here and you're helping to run this family business. What was it that made you think this is a great idea to jump into the spirits world, and then how did you move from what you were doing originally to then CEO in a pretty short amount? That's a whirlwind year.
I know it has been a whirlwind year. It's been a lot of fun though. But that's a great question, because with Little Arrow, I had been there 7 or 8 years, and if you know anything about Little Arrow, what it used to be, and where we've brought it to today, I was like, man, we've pretty much done everything that we can. And I was like, I think I'm ready to cut my teeth into something new and learn something. I'm still young, and I just wanted a new adventure, and family was very sad to see me leave over there, but happy at the same time. And then with what company needed and was looking for, I just felt like it was a perfect fit, and I knew they needed marketing help, and then they said, you can help run our operations as well, because we have, at the time they were opening Lynchburg, so they knew they needed retail operations help. So I was like, yeah, okay. And so I don't know, I came in, and I felt like within marketing and the operations side just brought a lot of process and structure, and like maybe some leadership too. So, and I don't know, I feel like the team probably saw that and was like, hey, we need this, are you interested? And I was like, me? You want me to do this role? I was like, I don't know.
Yeah,
but
you.
I know. Yeah. But I was like, man, but with the team and the support behind me, I was like, well, they're the masters, if I can help bring the structure and the leadership, I've got the experience all around. So.
I'd be the first to tell you, we had about 5 or so of us that were forming company, that it was, between us, we had, 60 years or so of experience. So even though we were a new company, we were fairly experienced at a lot of things. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be great at everything either. Right. What I've appreciated about Cassie is that she didn't necessarily come in with any preconceived ideas or bad habits. Sometimes you try to break, when they come into your organization, but, just bringing a lot of energy. But a fresh set of eyes, of things. It's like, well, we don't do that in the liquor industry. It's like we all kind of have those, I think, preconceived ideas about what you can and can't do. And she's like, why? And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe we should. I think you're right. But yeah, I love the fact that Cassie brings in a different perspective. We've got plenty of liquor industry perspective here, but I think the organization. I have really appreciated the discipline that she has brought in to allow us to be our best selves on the team. And I think a good leader does that for you. But just making us all feel comfortable, where every voice is heard and the best ideas are coming forward. That's what you need. And whether you're in a distillery or a campground.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great leader, and I feel like there is some hospitality sort of wrapped into what you do as well, which is what you were also doing at Little Arrow.
Yes.
Talk about maybe this site in particular, and then a couple of others that you have around the state, and maybe how they differ, because I don't see a lot of barrels here. Maybe there's some information you can give us on, how company operates.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, with hospitality, it's everywhere. No matter whether you're in the hospitality industry itself, or you're running a distillery, or you have a marketing agency. I think hospitality is everywhere, and if you're very good at it, I think people will be naturally drawn to whatever you're offering, and that's what I like to foresee in each of our 3 locations that we have. It's about, and it backs our brand, is like, I want company to be like how you feel when you are at one of our locations. We want it to be a welcoming experience. We want the hospitality to be there. If you don't know anything about bourbon, which we get a lot of guests here, especially in Townsend, we're right next to the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. So we have tourists that just come in and they don't know anything, but our staff does a great job of like just bringing them in, sitting them down, educating them. So it's just making people feel like they're part of the family. We're gathering around. It's meant to be shared. You'll see that across each of our locations, and each one is very different. Townsend, is kind of like our staple. It was our first one, right. And then we opened Thompson Station in 2022. Yeah. And it's small, but it has its own homey feel. And then Lynchburg is brand new. We just opened that in May of 2025. It's definitely our biggest location, and it has a lot to offer. And we're still, with only it being open a year, we're still experiencing what we can do and what it has to offer. So we're still laying out that framework. But yeah, each one does have its own, special thing about each store.
Even though they're all in the state of Tennessee, I would say that each of them has its different target consumer, and they're different. I mean, here you're getting tourists largely, but you also get a lot of day trippers. Because a lot of people that are here and they want to enjoy the beauty of the mountains, if they're from Oak Ridge or Knoxville or Maryville,
we come from Maryville just to come here.
We have a lot of day trippers into Townsend, and I think I would too. I wouldn't necessarily go and fight the traffic of Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg just to enjoy the mountains when you can come here, and it's much more predictable that you can get in and out. But clearly, like in Lynchburg, you're going to get an international consumer because Jack Daniel's draws from all over the world, all over the globe. And we're trying to create a complement to what Jack Daniel's does well there. It's like, the one thing you couldn't do was sit down and have a cocktail But but if you're a manufacturer, you're allowed to get around some of those laws. So you can do tastings, cocktails, bottle sales. If you're a manufacturer, And Townsend has Thompson Station is adjacent to a really nice neighborhood that's being built there called Whistle Stop. Really nice homes that don't have a lot of green space, but we would like to be sort of that neighborhood bar. It's the closest to Nashville, too, if you're just looking for a quick rundown. I think each one is going to appeal to a different person, making a different pathway through Tennessee, but hopefully they'll find one of our locations. And the thing that would be common is that the facility is going to be nice, the drinks are going to be great, the customer service is going to be awesome. And that's one thing we consistently hear is that your staff is excellent, and that always makes you feel good.
That is true.
Yeah.
I can attest to that.
Yes.
Your staff is fantastic.
Yeah.
And so how did you, I guess let's start with this. How did you choose to start here and then carry on from there? How did you choose Thompson Station? And then Lynchburg seems to me like when you first mentioned, it's like, oh, well, we're just going to go up against the big boys, just roll right in there.
Yeah, and I'll tell a little bit of that. Since Cassie wasn't with us when this first conversation was happening, what brought us to Townsend was the Grains and Grits Festival. Actually, the host facility was Little Arrow, so a lot of us were spending time, in tiny homes or rustic cabins or tents over there. But the distillers are pretty social, so we'd have 25 or 30 distillers from across the state of Tennessee, and we would all kind of walk around and gather and just sit and talk. But that, it was conversations that began on that property that ultimately led to us buying here, building here, with the thought that, of course, Mayor Mitchell was extremely excited. And I was telling you guys, it's like he understands that we're not the first person to distill in the county of Blount County. We were just the first ones that were going to be taxpayers, and he was so excited about that. But yeah, we felt like there's a lot of distilling, moonshining type. If you look at counties that were hotbeds for it, Blount County shows up, Cott County, some counties over in North Carolina, but there's some heritage history of distilling here that we felt like it would be really cool to do this in this location for that reason. But we became the first distillery in Blount County when we opened here 4 years ago. We had a previous partner who was a lawyer who loved to make gin. That was sort of how Thompson Station ended up on it was the law office, and then he over in the corner put a still in. But it became an became an award.
Law office?
Yeah,
He put a still in.
Yeah, he did, and it was all legal and everything. But he loved gin and became passionate about that. And kind of what came with that facility was an award-winning gin recipe that I think we have further refined and made even better. But we make a product. We're known to be a whiskey company, and the company brand focuses on that. But we do make a gin called Ghost Trail that comes out of Thompson Station. It's one of the best gins. It was a double platinum category winner, best gin in 2021 when we rebranded it. And then Lynchburg, kind of going up against the big boys, as you were saying. I had a friend who had a winery and distillery over there who lost a partner in a car crash. He was financially hurting and said, I really need to find somebody to take this. So that's kind of how it ended up on our radar. He started providing me some information, so we just kind of put it before, our team and board and said, would we want to do this? Because, it would be manageable because it's still in Tennessee, but I do think it gives us exposure to a different consumer. We see people from different countries and different states than we see here in Townsend or in Thompson Station for that matter. So, yeah, it's, we have 3, and I don't know if 3 is the right number, if it should be 2 or if it should be 5, But I think we're always going to be looking for opportunities like that. And I love the fact that, Cassie kind of comes in with that. She doesn't have a set number either. I think she's just like, whatever makes sense to do is what we need to do. So we'll see where it goes from here. But we're excited for the 3 facilities we have, all of them capable, and we can do our full portfolio at all of them. So.
Talk about your portfolio. Now that you mentioned that, what do you have? What products do you have to offer? You mentioned the Ghost Rail, which is fantastic, but tell us about some of your other offerings, and then maybe a sneak peek on what's coming down the pipeline.
Yep. So if you look in distribution, we do 3 different wood finishes right now. So we do a Tennessee whiskey that we do an apple wood finish on. We have a wheated bourbon recipe that's a 4-grain recipe now. That has a maple wood finish, and then we do 100% rye product that has a cherry wood finish. I think all of them are really nice. They have differing proofs, but what we try to do is give people across those 3 a choice and different character of things that they'd want. The Tennessee whiskey's the sweetest, the rye's the spiciest, but they all have some level of balance to them. If you come and visit our facilities, we do single barrels and cask strengths and some things like that are a lot of people, when they come to visit you, will always ask, what can I get here that I won't find in a store. They want to be kind of rewarded for making the trip. So you have those exclusives in house. But we're as we've grown as a company, we're going to try to start doing some more of those exclusives into distribution. So we're going to move our cask strength into distribution that's coming out this year. We have an Amberana finish that'll be coming out in the fall, which is if you're the person who loves the smell of the Cinnabon when you're walking through the airport, this bottle is all about that. It'd be a great after dinner type of drink. So that's our whiskey portfolio. A lot of wood finishes there. Plus, we're doing an 8-year-old in house that people can fill their own bottle on, which is really
that's very cool.
So a nice
that your
interactive
idea?
experience.
No, that was Jeff's idea.
Well, I think I can't take credit for it because a lot of distilleries have been doing that.
Okay.
But it seems to be right for here that people would want to, schedule themselves in and fill a bottle while they're here and take it home and enjoy it, have that as a memory for their time here.
That's a very vacation kind of thing to do, I think. And this is the kind of people that,
Well, and people wanted the experience now.
Yeah.
We're seeing that the younger generations, they want hands-on, something that they can do rather than just come in and have a cocktail. They want to put their hands on something, experiences. So we're trying to roll out more experiences and more fun things to do, whether that's behind the scenes or just something fun. We're always trying to, be creative.
And there's a distillery up in Kentucky right now that its whole, mantra has been built on thieving out of a barrel, and they call it the Whiskey Thief Distilling.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So, but that is the draw. Why you want to stop there because it's not necessarily one of the better known distilleries there, but it's the one place that you're going to get a chance to do that if you want to do it.
It was like a 10-minute tour, and we stayed for, 2.5 hours after that.
Exactly.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was the experience.
But beyond whiskey, of course, we do the gin out of Thompson Station. We do a barrel aged version of that I think kind of warms it up and makes it feel a little bit more like Christmas time, which is fun because you don't see a lot of barrel aged gins. We do vodka, not necessarily as a distribution product, but if we manufacture it, we can put it in the bar. And I think vodka is an important thing to have in a bar, just to be able to make cocktails. But we try to make it fun, so we call it nothing vodka, because if you read the federal codes, if you read all the federal codes. The federal codes of what vodka should be is flavorless, colorless, and odorless. So the more it can smell like nothing, taste like nothing, and look like nothing, the more perfect it is.
That is perfect.
So we make something out of nothing. We try to make cocktails out of it. We also do some flavored spirits under the Ace Gap name, and that's the one that has the local branding, because Ace Gap is a trail that's in the national park today, but it is where we know that there was a still years ago where the loggers would sit and play cards. So if you look at the label on the bottle, it looks like a worn-out playing card. And we also have the coordinates if people want to go to that trail. The latitude, longitude coordinates are on the back of the bottle that will get you to the trailhead of Ace Gap Trail. Flavored spirits, vodka, gin, and whiskeys. So.
Are you a whiskey person?
I do love the whiskey.
What's your favorite thing that you all? Can you say that? Is that like picking
your favorite kid?
Yeah.
No, I definitely have a favorite. I kind of flip flop between my go-tos, always the our flagship maple bourbon, but doing some tastings with Jeff. I love the rye, and you even said that women have more sophisticated palates, and so we see a lot of females like our rye, and our rye is very good, but sometimes I always go for the maple bourbon because it's a classic. I know that it's good. I know what I'm getting. And the rye is just, like as Jeff said, spicier, a little more hotter too. And but those are my favorites.
I think the rye is good too, because I think often when if you're going to make some cocktails at home, almost every classic bourbon cocktail is going to use simple syrup, and if you take a sweet bourbon and you put simple syrup in it, it can kind of become too sweet pretty quick. The rye doesn't have that sweet bias to it. It's a little bit more peppery and spicy, so it handles that simple syrup maybe a little bit easier without becoming too forward in the mouth, too sweet. I've told people, it's like if you like a Manhattan, you like an old fashioned, I think our bourbon or our rye, either one is excellent for it. It's just how sweet do you want it to be? Okay. Because the rye is going to cut the sweetness a little bit better.
Brett's like,
I'm in.
Brett, I can see the wheels turning over there because he's an expert old fashioned maker.
Well, I would say this about Cassie. Sorry, Jeff. It is, I think, as you drink more bourbon, especially, your taste develops. So that, I mean, maybe when you first started, like the rye would have just been like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I can see that, so I'm curious as to that.
Yeah, the one product I didn't mention that since we're here in Blount County, I need to, is that we do a special version of our rye that's a single barrel that's called seismic rye. And that was inspired by the seismic monitoring station that's in the Tuckaleechee Cavern here in Townsend. You know, it's, multi-generations of people have gone through that.
Yeah.
I tell people are taking their grandkids through it today because their grandparents took them through it. It's just something that you do when you come to Townsend. But that is it's American Seismic Station 107 that's in Tuckaleechee Cavern, so it's 107 proof in honor of that. But that seismic monitoring station has been there since 1978. I know when you take the tour over there, they'll mention that it's there. But they're monitoring seismic activity for the eastern half of the United States from there.
I love the connection to the local. I mean, is that important to you guys? I mean, it's,
You do
I
such
guess
a
it's
great
part of the
job
mantra
with
of
that.
company.
I would
isn't it?
just say, I feel like especially when it comes to whiskeys, a lot of people, it's not just the liquid itself. It should be good, but there's a story, and the better the story, they'll tie it to the memory. So to me, it's like what's great about Seismic Rye is if you take that bottle home and you also take the tour of the cavern while you're here, it's like you can kind of remember that whole experience, and you kind of are drinking that memory in. That story and with the next glass.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very important.
Yeah,
Storytelling and I think having some history. For us, like I said, we're a new company, but we brought quite a bit of experience into this too, and I think that it gives people a reason to believe, maybe.
So we mentioned at the very beginning that we were sitting in the Townsend Company Distilling store. If you look between Eric and Cassie through that glass window, you can see the distillery back there.
Yep.
So does each location have their own? I mean, do they distill
yes.
everywhere?
Yeah, that's one of the things that are required. We have to have manufacturing at all the locations, and you don't necessarily have to do every single step of the manufacturing process, but at least some of it has to be satisfied there to be eligible. So with Tennessee, you're also allowed to do, I call it some product sharing. So we don't necessarily have to make everything everywhere. Within reason, we can transfer products. With things we make at Thompson Station can be moved to Lynchburg or here. So what's good about that is we can have small distilleries that really specialize in doing what they do well. But if you come to any of our facilities, you can at least experience our full portfolio, whether it's all made in-house or not.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you can change the ingredients, but the one thing you can't alter is time. And of course, what is the I don't know how to phrase it, the newest, what is the youngest that has been in a barrel that you would put in a bottle?
A lot of that has to do with the warehouse conditions that it's been in. I've had products that were 3 years old that came from really hot, dry warehouses that had more maturity, as far as how you assess that, than some barrels that were 5 or 6 years old that came from differing conditions. So, the actual age is only one element of it. I think it usually gives you at least some level of expectation of what you want. But to me, once we hit the 4 or 5 year mark, I feel like it's a good candidate to begin to think about doing some wood finishing on it. So that's kind of where we are with our new make now. So we're just now kind of moving that into market. But there comes a time at which I say the final chapter was written. Once something is 8 years old, for instance, like the bourbon that we have on the Feel Your Own, there's no wood finish added to that because I feel like it's already well finished from the oak and it doesn't really need anything else. So I don't want to disrupt that. But age is just a number in a way. Really, a taste is about the only way you're going to know for sure if something is ready. But in the U.S., if you're anything less than 4 years old, you have to carry an age statement.
Yeah.
And for most people, I think they kind of decide that, it's best not to carry an age statement and let people, because I think we did it first, just so you guys know. We had some barrels that were just under the 4 year mark, and we weren't sure when we were going to bottle. So just to cover ourselves legally, we put this, it was a minimum of 3 years old. With that same back label, our product was averaging 6 years old.
Okay.
When we were bottling it. So, people would tell me this is fantastic, especially considering how young it is. And I'm like, well, throw that aside because it's probably twice as old as you think, so it's either good or it's not, so don't put this little qualifier on there that, based on how young it is, it's either good or it isn't.
Well, it's like you said about the expectation. Like if you put a number that's 8 or 10, and there's an expectation. Probably you say, hey, it's not even 3. They're like, oh, and they could be wrong. But
well, if they fill their own, it's an 8-year-old wheated bourbon. It's 120 proof, and I'll just let that speak for itself. You probably know that's probably going to be pretty good. 120 proof. That's super smooth though.
Yeah.
I'll be the judge of that.
I can't wait to try it.
And if you run out of gas, on the way home, you got to top off the tank, and you can still get home.
It's always good to drink something you can light on fire.
What you guys have lots of things going on here. I've been to on I think Friday nights. I guess you have some live music here, and you've got a new partner in Bella, providing food service. Is there anything else going on here that the folks in Blount County should know about, or something coming up that you guys want to talk about?
Well, I think one thing to remember too is when I talk to a lot of people, especially in Blount County, they really only know about our one location here, and then I tell them about the other 2. But the other important thing to remember too is we distribute in 10 states, all across the Southeast. So not only can you get us here in Tennessee, but you can go to Florida and pick up our products there. So this year we've opened in a couple of new states. We're looking maybe in 2027 to open in a couple more states. Okay. We're always trying new products and experiences here. Maybe we're looking at another location in Blount County. I don't know. Everything's on the table. We're excited. The team's growing. Everybody's eager to, the news says the bourbon industry is down, but I'm really challenging the team to be creative and thinking outside the box and what can we do that other people aren't doing, because we're a small business, and I think we can turnkey a lot of different things of like, okay, this is working, this isn't working. We can navigate a lot easier than these bigger brands can. Right. So. Yep.
That's the kind of mindset you're talking about, right?
Well, and when we were building towns, and we knew that this was because there's no natural gas here, there's no municipal sewer, that we weren't going to be able to build the size of the brand that we were hoping to build from here exclusively. So, as Cassie was saying, we do have some additional land in Blount County. We bought the old brick plant that's part of Springbrook Farm.
Okay.
When we first bought it, it's gone through bankruptcy. For people that are in Blount County, you probably have seen it. It kind of went through a long pause while it was changing hands, and I think the vision of what the place would be over there changed a little bit as it changed hands. But now things are going again. It's a hotbed of construction, and a lot of new businesses going in over there. So we're proud to have land over in that area. The question is how much, because we bought a large tract of land. We don't need it all. The question is who would be complimentary to be near us, and what would we want to build there to be a part of it, because it's, every time a new restaurant goes up, I'm like, surely that's going to cool off one of the other restaurants, but it doesn't. They just keep growing and growing over there. That's I think a really good spot to be potentially. But we're, as plans shape around us, I think we'll figure out what is right for us to do over there too.
Yeah, and you mentioned Bella and Raven. So we work with them on a lot of events, and we have this house, as Jeff mentioned earlier in the podcast, behind the distillery. So we're working on cleaning that up. We've been in talks with maybe doing some whiskey dinners or private events out there. Just some new experiences, again, that we can bring to the community that, maybe they haven't thought about before, that is fun. And what a great partner to work with Gemini Hospitality on those events and the food and everything.
And what a great location.
It is. It is a beautiful spot on the Little River, which most of the locals will call it Cedar Bluff, I've been told. That's what they refer to the mountain behind us on the other side of the river. It's one of the few spots that there isn't something on the other side of the river from you. You have that protective view shed, so you can go back there, and other than the echo coming off the wall, it's just you.
That's very cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I've got one more question. I'm saving it for the end, because I know you've got 1,000.
I'm trying to be quiet.
I know.
That's what I'm trying.
All right.
I'm so excited.
No, go. Yeah, if you've got.
No. Please. One of the final questions we normally ask is, we've talked a lot about different things. We always ask, how can they get in touch with you other than coming to the locations and like social media, website, or what else have we not asked you that you want to tell people?
I mean, another way people can see us here locally, we are in the Tennessee Theater. We also are a sponsor and a partner with One Knox. So anytime you go to a One Knox soccer game at Covenant Health Park, you can get the golden hour drink behind the bar.
Nice.
And we're also, for all the World Cup games at Kearns Food Hall in Knoxville, we have the 21 plus viewing area up there, so you can get a company drink there. So we try to be all around town. Knoxville's a great pull through market for us, so we're always trying to support local and do whatever we can to make sure that we're being seen in the community and people know who we are.
I love it.
What about social media and website?
Yeah. Of course, we've got Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube. We have a website, companydistilling.com. We can't do a TikTok, so we don't have TikTok.
You can't do it. What do you mean?
Alcohol. So we don't have TikTok, but we have every other social media platform out there. So if you guys search for Company Distilling, you can find us.
I don't think most people who have TikTok can drink yet.
Yeah.
Legally, so
Yeah.
That is
maybe
true.
that's not a bad thing. Well, so here's my question, because it's called Company, and so I was thinking, and it's kind of a two-parter. If you could sit down, have a drink with anybody, any company, any person, just sit down and have a drink with them, who would it be? And then what would your cocktail be? Or how would you take your company?
Wait a minute. Living or dead, or
living or dead,
celebrity?
whatever.
Because can I answer this too?
You can answer.
I have to give it a thought now. So
Yeah,
I'll let them
absolutely.
go first, though.
Okay, so I did not know this question was
No, you
coming.
did not. No,
but I might get some judgment, but I'm just going to say it. Okay, anyone that I would have a drink with would be Travis Kelce.
Okay.
I'm a huge Kansas City Chiefs fan, or Patrick Mahomes, one of the two. I love the Chiefs. I love Travis Kelce.
Love it.
So I would do that. I know that might get some shade, but I don't care.
That's okay.
We'll send this to him, and we'll see what we can do.
You're really going to upset Taylor.
Maybe we'll go viral and he'll see.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
She's going to come looking
Taylor.
for
I mean,
you.
yeah, she's great too, but
She's great too. Our daughters are listening, So.
And let's see, I would do an old fashioned. I just like I like my bourbon and old fashions. So that's what I would choose.
Love it.
Yeah.
Great answer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, even though I'm no longer with Jack Daniel's, there were a lot of questions that were asked of me in my time there that I had to only speculate. Why this, why that. If I had an opportunity to sit down with Jasper Newton Daniel, Jack Daniel, for one evening, he would do it's like a mint julep, but it was using tansy, which is a poisonous herb, but it's kind of flavorful. And you don't get enough of it, to poison the drink. But
Good thing.
But there were articles that were written that was what he would do. He'd crack a fresh bottle and he would bruise a tansy in it to create like a mint julep. So I would probably drink that since that was his drink of choice. But I have about a dozen questions that are still kind of burning in my head that I wonder why, about. So it'd probably be him. Yep.
And how
That's
would you?
a good one.
And so that's the drink that you have too.
I would do. It's sort of like a mint julep, but it would be a tansy.
Okay.
Yeah.
A tansy.
A
Okay,
tansy.
mine would be an old fashioned, and I think, and this is like a politically correct answer for our podcast is, I have three names, well, four, I guess. Jim and Jimmy from Gemini,
Oh yeah.
Jeff, and Roy Milner.
Yeah.
And I would not say a word.
Oh my God.
I would just sit there and listen to the conversation.
I feel like we
Roy.
could arrange that if you want.
And I really like all those people, so let's do it.
Yeah.
Roy included. I've gotten to know him, and he's a wonderful guy.
Yeah,
He's
we're still
very,
waiting.
very smart.
By the way, Roy, we're still waiting on that whiskey tasting that you promised us.
He
but
thought
I'm
he'd
just-
throw in, we should get together and drink bourbon at the very end of our podcast, and we wouldn't remember it or something.
Yeah. Oh
Yep.
my gosh.
And you're old fashioned as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Good question.
That is a good question.
Well, I thought that with bourbon people, you needed to know, and with company people, you needed to know, who's that company that you would keep? I'd love the answers.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I think we've come to the end of our time.
Okay.
Unless we have anything else to discuss, we
I think we're good.
truly appreciate the time that you guys spent with us.
Of
It's been
course.
fun,
Thank you
guys.
for having us.
Yes.
Yeah. This is
One thing I will
awesome.
tell people, don't come on a Monday because there will be several people that do because we've watched them come and go, but they were closed on Monday.
Don't come on a Monday without contacting me first because I can open up and show you around if we need to.
Right.
If it's a Monday, it has to be.
Good caveat there, yes.
Yep.
So, but other than that,
You can reach me.
11 to 8, Tuesday through
Sunday.
Mm-hmm. This is the place to be in Townsend. That's
right. It is.
Awesome. Thank
Cassie
you
and Jeff, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Enjoyed
This
it.
was fun.
Thanks. That was everything I expected it to be.
Yeah, I don't know what was more fun, interviewing them or watching you listen to them as we interviewed them. I knew you were in heaven over there listening to Jim talk about the process.
I just find it fascinating. I mean, if you've been to again, this is getting away from Blount County a little bit. If you've been to one of those bourbon tours up in Kentucky somewhere, the history of it is and the I guess science behind is interesting.
Yeah, and everybody does it just differently enough, or I guess the maybe the facilities and the equipment are just different enough that it's interesting every time, because we've been to, I don't know, half a dozen, 8, so I don't know, different distilleries, and every time we're just riveted. Molly didn't even like bourbon, and she's like, this is the most interesting thing ever. So
there you go. Like I said, the history of and just another thing to add to the allure for me, and I think I can speak for you, of Townsend. Just go to Townsend. Another thing you can do we mentioned it a little bit during the recording, a little bit before the recording, but they were closed on Mondays, and we were there on Monday recording, and half a dozen people came to the door to try to get in.
Banging on the door.
Yeah. And it's like, sorry, they're closed.
Yeah, we drove by on Sunday afternoon because we went up to the mountains and just did a hike on Father's Day. So we're, kind of behind the following Monday. But it was packed. I mean, it was full.
Really? The parking lot?
The parking lot was full. Yeah. So I'm assuming they were all in there and not, doing a bike ride or something. But yeah, it was. I think it's a really popular place, and the food's good too. I've had the little Bella outpost that's kind of a walk up counter is really good.
We didn't go. I wish we'd have gone out back. I want to see what this house looks like out back that they're going to turn into. If they do that, and they're talking about doing some bourbon dinner kind of things on the river in Townsend. It's like, sign me up.
It's really cool back there too. We went to one of the concerts that they had there. The Backseat Delilahs played. We went and saw our friend Maylee Gallion and her crew sing out there, and had a drink, had a sandwich from Bella, and it was really neat. And I know they're putting up those shades, so it'll give you a little bit more shade back there, because it did get pretty hot late in the afternoon. But really cool place. And what about the duo? Those two are, Cassie and Jeff are like the dynamic duo. I think he's got all the knowledge that you can ask for, and then she's just this dynamo, and a proven commodity when it comes to leading an organization forward. So I mean, I expect great things to come out of company. I think they're on a upward trajectory.
Yeah, and it's funny, they don't seem to be limiting themselves to, like he said,
right.
They have 3 locations. He doesn't know if 3 is the right number, or 2 is the right number, or 5 is the right number, but I have a feeling it's not 2.
Yeah, right.
We'll see where it goes. But it started right there in Townsend, Tennessee, and little old Blount County. Yeah,
impressive people, and what they've built is really impressive. That we enjoy just being in the store and in the facility.
And like you said,
very cool.
And talking to them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, So interesting. So I hope everybody listening enjoyed it as well. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it was. You know who else is enjoyable to listen to?
Tell me.
Michelle McCauley.
Michelle McCauley. We should go to Michelle and see if she has anything to sell.
She always has something good to say. So let's see.
Hello, this is Michelle McCauley with Movement Mortgage, and I am bringing you this week's market update. Good news for home buyers, mortgage rates are holding relatively steady this week, giving buyers a little more breathing room. We're also seeing an uptick in the refinance activity, while buyers continue to shop despite affordability challenges, and more homes are hitting the market, so there's more opportunities to find the right fit. If you've been waiting on the sidelines, this could be the perfect opportunity to explore your options. Reach out today and let's make a plan that works for you. My cell is 865-806-6113.
What did the studio audience think?
Keep it down, people. Keep it down.
Very, very nice. We got a rowdy crowd tonight.
Always.
Yeah. It's coming up on the weekend, so thanks, Michelle. Do you have any real estate interesting tidbits to add?
Yeah. The most interesting thing, our broker always sends out a weekly email, and the most interesting thing that I noticed on it, not really real estate related, she made the comment that, well, the summer solstice has passed and the days are starting to get shorter. I'm like, I'll be dang.
We're already there. Yeah.
It didn't seem like it was a longer day, but maybe that's why it's been cooler the last couple of days.
It must have been. Yeah.
That's about to change.
Yeah, we're getting into the dog days of summer. And I think real estate traditionally, and maybe this is just me, I think everybody has their own seasons. Like real estate has its season, but every agent has his or her season as well. Summertime can be a little slow for me. I feel like a lot of my clients are out of town, enjoying vacation and things like that. So it can be a little bit slower time, but that's all relative as well. This is one of the busier times of the year. So
yeah, I mean the summer overall, but yes, there does seem to be it's like people go on vacation about the same time. So, although I will say this, it seems like when I go on vacation, I get busier.
I know, that's right. Which makes me want to go on vacation all the time.
Oh, sitting here twiddling my thumbs until I go on vacation. I'm like, oh shoot, yes, I can help you, but I'm not in town right now. But
I hope the sand doesn't get into my computer. Yeah,
that's right. But yeah, it's coming up on the end of June. So for our next one, I'll have a little more like a semi-year update, because 6 months is a significant point in the year. We'll compare it to 2025 and see what it looks like.
That's right. And we're coming in speaking of semi, we're coming up to the what's it called?
Come on, semi-sesquicentennial.
Semi-sesquicentennial.
That will have happened.
Sesquicentennial. Yeah.
That will have happened by the time our next episode airs.
Yeah, that's right. So it's coming up. So
it will be an event.
Start practicing how you say that right now.
Speaking of events.
Yeah.
There's one thing we want to mention, and this is a little off yet, but something we found out about. In September 15th will be the Taste of Blount, which, again, we'll mention later, but
right,
you need to go to it if you haven't been.
Yep.
So tell them what we learned, Eric.
Yeah, as soon as tickets come available, you're going to want to grab them. But one new thing that they're adding to the Taste of Blount this year, they do all kind of different awards, desserts and entrees and different things. But one award that they're adding this year is in honor of Mama Mel, Melanie Effler, who was on our program this past spring, who passed away. But they're doing a casserole cook-off in honor of Mama Mel. So I think that'll be really cool, and what a great tribute to somebody who was just a great person in our community. So that'll be exciting. We were thrilled to hear that, and also thrilled to be able to share that with you guys. So
yeah, so that, I mean, the fact that it's a casserole, perfect.
It's perfect. Yeah. It just fits her perfectly. So she would be proud, I'm sure. Any other events coming up that we need to?
I'm sure there's a lot. Like I said, that the semi-sesquicentennial is going to have things going on.
Easy for you to say.
I am going to be out of town on the 4th because, as you know, Eric, since we're neighbors, I like to blow things up on the 4th, and this would be the best 4th of July to do that, and I'm going to be out of town. So.
It would be. We're going to miss our local neighborhood fireworks show.
Yeah.
They will have the City of Alcoa Freedom Fest Saturday, June 27th. So this is like the day or the day after you have listened to this program. So so that's at the Alcoa Duck Pond.
If you're in Blount County and you're late listening to this program, we just explained what that was you heard.
That's right. That's right. And then there's the Maker's Mark Summer Bluegrass and Beignets event, which is at the MacArthur Pavilion in Maryville, and that's Saturday, August 1st. That's coming up. So,
and
fresh made beignets, not a bad way to spend a Saturday.
That does sound good.
Yeah. So some good stuff coming up.
Well, we'll be here for all of it. So
that's right.
We're gonna give this a shot, Eric. This is like the highlight every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks.
It seems to be the same. It's like, well, let's just record it and replay it. All right. Well, that's a wrap on another episode.
That's right. Join us in 2 weeks for our next one.
What guest will we talk to? Who will our next guest be?
There it is.
There it is. See, I told you.
What topics will we cover?
And what's new in the real estate market?
Well, let's
find out.
Well-oiled machine.
Well-oiled.
Thanks for listening to the Let's Be Blunt podcast. If you have questions or guest ideas, or if you'd like to sponsor a segment of our podcast, please send us an email at theletsbebluntpodcast@gmail.com.
I'm Brad Hepner.
And I'm Eric Rice.
And we call ourselves the Property Dads. As local realtors, we want you to know and love this community as much as we do. If you have questions about real estate, don't hesitate to call us at LeConte Realty at 865-268-4180. We'll be happy to help.